Hi, my name is Zoe Daly and I'm here talking about the Celtic Sovereignty Goddesses who I work with in my business and just in my personal life. So I was going to talk a little bit more about the Morrigan. She's been one of my main guides for many years, and I see her very much as she's a triple aspect goddess, like many Celtic goddesses are triple aspect goddesses. So I see her as like a sister to Eru. Eru has three sisters, and the Morrigan is comprised of three sisters as well. And yeah, there's so much interesting stuff about the Morrigan. She is been so misrepresented and manipulated. Her image has been. So for me, she's always been such a lover of the planet, a lover of nature, a lover of life, of creation. And she is, for me, really kind of representative of the holy womb aspect of the Divine Mother. And I see her and Eru like the light and the dark, mirroring the kind of the dark womb of creation and the light spark within it, so that they're one within that, and yet they're two complementary forces. I see her very much associated with the womb mysteries, and especially in Ireland, I believe a lot of our sacred sites revolve around these womb mysteries. We have this ancient symbol called the Síle na gig, which is like a feminine figure holding open her vulva, which loads of people have a hard time with, historians and academics, because they can't understand it. But it really references this deep reverence that our ancient ones and ancestors had, and knowledge they had of the womb mysteries. So a lot of our sacred sites are designed like wombs, and they're also designed around, solstice periods, astrological periods, where the light would penetrate this womb. So it's really like the moment of conception, the moment of creation. A lot of our sacred sites are around, and I see really the Morrigan and Eru as like kind of joint forces in this. Also, one of her consorts is Ondagda, who is a very revered solar god, divine masculine counterpart, and he is famous for holding his cauldron, which I think is associated with many things, but for me it's that deep reverence of the womb as well, the divine masculine reverence of the womb. So she is known as, in our mythology, in our history, as goddess of war, goddess of battle, goddess of death, destruction, and that's where I feel it's been so easy to misrepresent her. Really, I think for me, she takes on these aspects in a very productive way. As she's been cast in this persona, she also then takes on a lot of our stories revolve around her being present at battle. She was also an oracle, so she prophesied a lot, and especially at battle, foretold people's death and things like that. So she, when you just like, a lot of people who connect with her, or a lot of information around her is like been degraded. It's like it's taken this aspect of her associated as a war goddess, her and her sisters even as a war goddess, to be bloodthirsty. Then she's very much hypersexualized. I spoke about this before, and I feel like it's for me, when I connect with her, that's really missing her point. It's she is definitely a warrior energy, and like a warrior for this planet and for planetary freedom and liberation, and she is associated with the dark. For me, it's like that womb energy. However, she's also, I feel, because her image has been so manipulated, she is comfortable in the dark. She is able to be present. She's seen all darkness, witnessed and been there throughout all the history of our country, Ireland, and witnessed, especially for the feminine, what has happened to them. And so I see her very much and to the masculine. I see her really as such a huge supporter of the divine masculine, and as a mourner of the destruction of the divine masculine. And I see this present in our myths, where she has many interactions with our most famous hero, Cuchulainn, where I feel she's really calling him back to his holiness, as was destined for him, which I believe also got degraded. So she was like a prophet and an oracle to him. Instead, that story has been very much degraded and sexualized, that she's trying to woo him. And I really believe there's a much higher aspect to that story. So I really feel like she's coming forth strongly now, like all the sovereignty goddesses, for their story to be told, for their story to be remembered, for their stories to be integrated into this time now, because the time that they walked on the earth, I believe, is so related to this time we're in now, a time of huge upheaval and change and potential. And I believe they were doing the exact same thing when they came to the planet and were on our land. So, you know, the Morrigan, for me, she's always present in an area where there has been a lot of destruction or trauma. I always feel her presence in the form of the crow. This association of her as the crow, even one of her names in her triple aspect is the crow, has totally been manipulated, I feel, as well, and been used against her. So I feel like you do have to be aware connecting with the Morrigan. I've always seen things around the Morrigan that people almost have this worshipy cult around her, and I've never felt that from her. I've never felt that's what she's wanted. She's been a very strong guide for me in my business and my personal life, and a real warrior for my highest good. However, she never wants an exchange or a worship or anything like that. So for me, her motives are so pure and aligned with mine, which is really to be of the highest service to our planet and to our community. However, I think there's this whole imaging of her associated with war has led to this total degradation of her character. You know, she is known as a very powerful magician and sorceress, which was originally in reference to her womb energy. I believe she birthed stargates on our land, as the sovereignty goddesses were so, like, their bodies were intrinsically part of the land. And that is how they maintained this beautiful balance of harmony and listening and communion and communication with the earth and with the community. So that creation magic of her womb, known as her being a very, you know, well-known magician, was harnessed and distorted. So that creation magic, which I believe is so what our sacred sites are telling us as well, have also been disrupted and distorted, the energy around them. And when I feel, especially women who are drawn to her, align with her, I feel like they can be so easily misled down this distortion. And and it's very subtle. It's like a gaslighting. It's like gaslighting is the truth. It's like a shade of the truth that's then twisted, so it can be hard to discern because part of it is truth and you're resonating with that truth, and then certainly slowly you're led down a different path. I feel that's the way that can happen with her. And then it slowly leads you into something else, a lower vibration than her true vibration, which really is about the highest service to creation, and reverence of the Holy Mother, the Divine Feminine, the Divine Masculine, and their unification. So the Morrigan I spoke before is such a great warning system. When she associates with battle and with war, and they talk about her in that way, for me she also speaks in that language. She's very clear to me about being in a war for our consciousness. But the only thing she's very clear about is the only battle really is within, and that is what she's a great ally for. That's what I work with her for, to really have her as a guide as I look within the darkest things I need to look at within, the darkest things I need to look at without. And really, as she says, the only battle is for the inner world, is for the inner battle. And getting drawn into battle on the outside is futile. That's a distortion, because ultimately, we're on that journey to battle all of the darker hidden spaces within us, to free them from trauma so that we can fully embody our magic, our creation magic. So I think, working with her is incredible. She is such a powerful force and a powerful ally, way more powerful than she's cast as. She's like all that and more, and none of the degradedness. She's so much more higher than that. And I think that she's very true. She's very noble, and she's really available as a guide at this time where as we are in a war for our consciousness. She always does come to me in the form of a crow. I speak to her in the form of a crow. Most recently, she landed at, like, a crow landed at my feet and started like really mouthing off to me, and at that exact time I realized afterwards my mum had a really dangerous accident, and she was alerting me. And like 2 weeks later, she followed me home and sat on a wire outside my house and was like really talking to me. And even though I'm so aware of her, I was still like, oh God, what is she talking about? The Morrigan's talking to me, there's something happening. And I couldn't, like, I almost didn't want to listen, I suppose, because she was alerting me. She was alerting me again to something that happened. But it was a day later. My dad got ill and something had to be acted on immediately, and she alerted me to that. So she was in my consciousness. So she is known. She is a prophetess, and one thing I think is so beautiful about her. She spoke after a battle. She spoke 2 prophecies, which remind me of White Buffalo Woman. One of them was about seeing the end of the world, and it was a time, she describes it as a time and this was a time where her tribe had defeated, a much darker tribe in Ireland, and they were taking over to reestablish the land into a harmonic state. And the prophecy was about the darkest times to come. It was about the end of the world, essentially. That where we will see the most evil and the most evil in humanity, evil in the land, all of this. And then she spoke a prophecy of peace. And this is so beautiful, because I believe this is the time we're in now. I believe we're in the time of both these prophecies, and this is why I feel it's really important to reestablish our true connection to the Morrigan instead of the distorted one. She spoke this prophecy of peace, which was about the land being that heaven will be on the earth will be in the heaven. Both of them will be equal. That the land will be so full and abundant, full of cows. The trees will be heavy with fruit. The sheep will be plenty. The land will be like a cup for the honey that will be overflowing. So I just love that so much, and I just encourage, I feel like the Morrigan has come to me for this message to be like a warning system, as she is sometimes, for connecting with her in the true way. When you connect with her in the true way, she is sovereign. She wants you to be sovereign. She wants the land to be sovereign, and she wants heaven on earth, which involves truly doing that inner battle within, to be brave enough to face all the places and spaces within us that we need to do our inner work, so that we can become the anchors of light and truth for peace and heaven on earth. So I think our prophecy is really now, and the time for all of her distortion to end is now as well. So I hope that was interesting about the Morrigan. I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.